Yo, what the fuck is that?
What is up, my people, my vagabonds, my astrologers, all you Elden Ring folks? That was a little bit of a nice intro video of our boy, Bird Person, taking average Kurt Cooks in a one-on-one in Elden Ring. But welcome to another episode of the Townie Sports Podcast. I am one of your two hosts, Sammy, alongside, of course, as always, Vic. Vic, how you doing, bro?
What's up, Sammy? I'm doing well. I like that we matched today, and I heard that Kurt lost that duel because he has smaller hands.
apparently that's the rumor that you need larger hands.
Yes. Tiny hands. Little baby hands.
But again, just want to intro and say thank you, everybody, for joining us here. Please remember to like and subscribe if you like all the content. We have a really great show planned today. We're going to touch on, obviously, the big news coming out of baseball. The MLB lockout is in full effect. Then we'll get into some NBA talk, the Celtics surging, the Sixers surging, a little bit of more NBA draft scouting, some NFL news. Oh, nope, scratch that. No NFL news today. We'll do that in 2 weeks as we get closer to the NFL draft and free agency. But we will touch on March Madness, and I'm going to give you a little bit of preview of some conference championships to watch out for this week. And then obviously, Vic, you're going to take it away with your Townie takeaway. But all right, starting off, Victor, this has been a conversation you, me, and TK have had pretty much in our group chat all week about the MLB lockout. Now, do you want me to explain it first for everybody, and then you can kind of, do your talking heads and
let it ride, Sammy. More cute stuff.
Okay. So Monday night was quote unquote the official deadline for the MLB lockout. So essentially Monday, they needed to get a deal done. The Players Association and the league had to get a deal done in order for the season to start on time. So let me start off by saying what the MLB players offered, and then what the MLB organization countered with. So the players wanted $230 million in luxury tax threshold. So pretty much a soft cap, just to kind of make it very basic for everybody. $238 million, and they want that luxury tax threshold to increase to $263 million over the span of the 5 years for this CBA. They also wanted a $85 million pre-arbitration bonus pool for MLB's top 10, top 15 rookie players. This essentially was down from the original proposal that they had proposed for 80 or for 100 million. So they did kind of leverage a little bit down, a little bit lower there. So after Monday night, apparently there was some, leeway made, or at least that's what the media made us seem. So Tuesday, the MLB countered the offer. So the MLB countered with an offer of a $220 million luxury tax threshold for the first 3 years, and then up to $230 million by the 5th year. So a little bit of a gap there. They also offered $30 million pre-arbitration bonus. This is increased from what they originally were going to give, which was the $10 million. And, I forgot about this. The MLB players wanted an increase of the league minimum wage to $725,000, but the MLB countered with $700,000 with $10K raises every year, even though the Players Association wanted $25K raises every year for those first 2 years. So the MLB Players Association obviously declined that offer pretty quickly, and here we are, man. We're in the middle of one of the what's looking like is going to be one of the longest baseball work shortages in a very long time. But Vic, take it away. What do you think about all this? Whose side are you on, and what are you thinking about all of this?
We also heard that they're canceling opening day, right? So it's a big bummer. That means spring training is not probably going to happen. And if it does happen, it'll happen in some condensed form. So us here in Florida that are excited to see the Sox play, excited to see the prospects play in spring training. That's not going to happen this year. It's starting to look like we're getting close to a longer lockout, Sammy. I'm worried. As far as this, which side I'm on, I would love to. I just want to have baseball back. I'm not on either side. I mean, I understand where the players are coming from when they say, the arbitration stuff is kind of whack, but they are the only, I think the only sport that has fully guaranteed contracts. They make a lot of money. A lot of them. If you're a good baseball player, you can make a lot of money. Even minor leaguers
for a long time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And even minor leaguers, they can really make a living off of it. And as far as wanting the luxury tax threshold to go up, I mean that's just, I guess who's gonna say, and I'm sure you are, that they're on the side of rich billionaires. But take it away.
No, I mean I'm not on the side. I came into doing this research because I had a feeling you, and obviously I know TK was on the side of the players, so I was like, I want to see the other side. I want to see what the other point of view is, and I really, really tried, honestly. I really did. I was really trying to be on the side of the MLB franchises, but honestly, I really couldn't. I couldn't, and the reason being is because over the last, I think 4 or 5 years, we're looking at a lot of these MLB organizations' value increasing, like skyrocketing. But then you look at the last 2 to 3 years and you're seeing the average salary of each player decreasing. And to me, that something wasn't right there. Now, I will say this. I think they both want very, very different things, and they're both not willing to compromise enough. And I think that's probably, for me, that's the most frustrating part about all of this.
You know what's frustrating to me, Sammy, is where you have an ownership group like the Fenway Group, right, that owns the Red Sox and owns Liverpool, and I think they're looking at buying a basketball team too somehow. But they have all that money, and they're unwilling to pay Mookie Betts, whatever he was said to make. I'm going to get off the Mookie Betts train, but Mookie Betts is a player that you should have in your lineup for his entire career, right? Or until he's over the hill and he ends up being like Albert Pujols, right? But it's a real bummer that we don't have baseball, because especially how much momentum they had last season. And I'm speaking just personally. I started to get back on the baseball train again, and it was good. It was a lot of fun. But what bothers me the most is like I said, these owners that make all this money. Wick Grossbeck is in the NBA is another one that just pisses me off. He just refuses to get in the luxury tax every year. You're always seeing the Celtics making some little deal, in the beginning of right at the trade deadline to try and get under that tax, and it's garbage. These guys if you guys don't have the money to pay for a good team, don't fucking buy a team. They're expensive, right? So I think both sides are being a little bit crazy in what they're asking. So I don't see a middle ground right now.
Yeah, I really don't either. I mean, my biggest thing was I was trying to figure out, where did the players get their numbers, right? So I want to pull something up real quick here. I'm not going to do a table like last week and confuse the heck out of everybody. This is just a simple graph, just to show everybody pretty much how much MLB players make compared to the other sports. So on average, the MLB player is up there compared to all of the other pro sports. Now, again, this was 2 years ago. This has gone down slightly. You're still looking at a player in the EPL maybe making a little bit more on average, because they are increasing their salaries, versus MLB is not increasing their salary quite as much. So I do agree, though, that the minimum salary does need to increase. It does need a little bit of an adjustment, because you're looking at currently the minimum salary is $500,000, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the minimum NHL salary is like $650 or something, $650,000, and you're looking at a league that's probably more profitable in a sense than the NHL. So
what league is that above the MLB? I can't read it. I can't see that.
It says IFL or IPL.
What is that? Oh, is that cricket or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
cricket players make that much money? Oh, cricket's just basically European baseball, right? So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why that was added in there. I think this was a stat organization that pretty much took all of the major sports in the entire world. But I really wanted to kind of hone in on NBA, MLB, NFL, EPL, kind of those things that are more well-known, more popular.
yeah.
And
Well,
I do agree that the threshold should slightly increase. But I think what's missing in all this, and you kind of touched on it vaguely, is that these teams are now, contrary to what a lot of people think, are not spending at that threshold. We used to look at situations where the Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox were always poo-pooed because they were going over that threshold because, well, they can pay the taxes on it and that's perfectly fine with them.
And they did that.
Now these teams are not even doing it, and you're looking at a lot of the other teams. If you look at the back end, a lot of the teams aren't even spending up to half. There's no incentive because they're still getting profit sharing from all of the incentives that they're getting from broadcast systems and media. So we're missing that. So there should be a min and maybe increase that max a little bit so that we can be more competitive, because you are seeing more of these teams, the popular teams, if you will, the Red Sox, Yankees, all of them, spending at that threshold and not going over. But all these other teams kind of down at the bottom, they don't want to pay because they're profiting. So who's at fault? You know what I mean? I mean,
right. Well, and then also, Sammy, so like you have these, like you said, you have these teams spending, but I think Moneyball, the concept of Moneyball really kind of pushed us away from those big spending teams like the Red Sox back in the day, like the Yankees back in the day. I really honestly, I think Moneyball ruined baseball.
From a money perspective, essentially, not from the analytics, right? But just from a straight.
No, just from the money perspective, because everybody's realizing they can get cheaper guys, right? And everybody learned the trick the Rays had, where they basically, had these farm guys to come up, have them for their arbitration, trade them away for younger farm guys, and it's a perpetual, literally, it's like a factory basically down there in Tampa, right down the street, I guess, but no.
Yeah, I mean, last kind of comment that I wanted to touch on was something that I thought of kind of on my drive actually home today, listening to a few podcasts and kind of thinking about this whole situation as a whole. You look at these other teams, right? Because that's what we do. We like to compare how is the MLB players are getting paid versus NFL, NBA. There's a lot of star power in all those leagues. Incredible star power. The MLB does not have the star power, so unfortunately they have very little leverage here. They're not marketable. And it's I don't know who's at fault in that situation. People want to blame the MLB, but we are seeing players like Tatis do things. We saw the, Joey Bats bat flip a few, long time ago. And yeah, he was shunned, but he wasn't, penalized or anything like that. But there's no star power. The best player in baseball, I mean, arguably one of the best players in baseball, Mike Trout. I mean, only a handful of people know him compared to, let's say, a LeBron James, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Tatis is getting on the map. I mean, Shohei Ohtani a little bit is getting on the map just because of what he can do on both sides of the ball. But from a marketing perspective, it's hard when you don't have that star power. And it's kind of like, well, the MLB needs you, but they don't. If that makes sense. If that makes sense.
No, and their players are kind of boring too, right? Like Mike Trout, he's not out there doing anything interesting. Tatis, now that's a guy that actually, is kind of cool. But everybody, I don't know if you saw Mike Trout on the street, would you recognize him? That's like the famous thing, right?
Right, exactly.
So.
All right. So anyway, that all sucks. Hopefully they come to a deal. I think there's something to watch out for is when we get to about 120 games of cancellation. So if they get to a point where they're canceled about 40 to 50 games, that's where we're going to start to maybe see some leverage and some leeway, because the MLB is going to realize, okay, they're going to lose a lot of money from the media, because I believe they have a contract with ESPN, Fox, TNT for a certain amount of games. So I think the players are probably willing to wait that part out until we get closer to that deadline. And that's probably where we'll start to see things pick up, hopefully sooner. But I think that's the key here is waiting for that moment where I believe it's about 120 or 100 games on the year is what that contract is. So
that's scary.
yeah,
I
it
don't
is.
know about that especially because we already had a lockout in our lifetime, right, for baseball. So, I'd hate to have another.
But all right, moving on. We got some NBA news. So the Celtics, 3-1 in the last 4, looking pretty good. So I just wanted to touch on. All right, let you pretty much cook on what you see with the Celtics, how this past weekend went, and I know we got the Grizzlies tonight, and then going forward. What is the temperature in the room, if you will, on the Boston Celtics right now?
I'd say, happiness is at an all-time high, especially watching the team. Looks like they're actually playing with heart. Derek White, what he does doesn't show up on the scoreboard, I think, on the box score. What he does is he brings pace. He pushes that ball that, typically what Schroeder did is whenever they get a rebound, right? So what did he do? He'd take it, he'd fake like he was going to run up the floor, stop, slow it down. What Derek White's doing is the exact opposite. He's getting that ball off the glass. And he's running. He's making everybody run. He's finding an outlet. He's making them run. So I think that's had a great impact on the offense. But the team with the best net rating since January 1st is the Boston Celtics, and it's not even close. So you have the Celtics at 11.4 net rating, and the Suns at 10.1. The next closest team to the Suns is the Grizzlies at 7.6. And for those people that don't know about net rating, so what it does is it takes your net rating, your offensive net rating and your defensive net rating, and it basically subtracts the two. What you have left over is your net rating. So just to go back on that net rating piece I was talking about, the best 3-man lineups in terms of net rating since January 1st, with a minimum of 100 minutes played together, you have three Memphis lineups, or 2 Memphis lineups, a Denver lineup, a Dallas lineup, and then the Celtics with Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Al Horford. Out of the top 10, the Celtics have 3 of the top 3 3-man lineups. So in terms of net rating, I mean, these guys are playing well together. Another thing, Sammy, has been the bench scoring, especially from Grant Williams, a guy that I gave up on.
Your boy.
Yeah, and now I freaking love him. So if we're looking at Grant Williams and where he's improved, he's been an incredible shooter from the corner, especially from corner 3. In terms of shooting, this is season-wide, by the way. This is for the whole season. Grant Williams is shooting 51% on corner 3s. All right. The only people above him are Zach LaVine, Austin Rivers, Doug McDermott, and Keldon Johnson. So only 4 people above him. Now, there's not one above him with a minimum of 40 attempts. So he is the highest 3-point percentage from there. He's been incredible, what he's done. I hope it's not just a fluke. Maybe this is a Kawhi thing where, one day it just clicked. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Kawhi, but I'm saying in terms of being a good bench scorer and being a good bench player, I think he's there. Robert Williams, the defensive switch has been huge. So what they're doing now is they're putting Horford on the big man, putting Horford on the center, and they're letting Rob Williams roam on defense. So essentially, it becomes a roaming center. He's not getting stuck chasing down blocks and whatnot. He's not getting beat by guards. He actually switches pretty well, but defensively, that's where you see the biggest change is with Rob Williams and his ability to be a roaming center in the league. So I think if the Celtics stay healthy, I think they can win a few series. The trouble comes when you have to face a fully healthy Nets team and a fully healthy Sixers team. Let's be honest, this team is good, but they're not great, right? I still don't see a championship for them. I think our ceiling is Eastern Conference Finals.
Even despite the defense? I mean, I know the defense has been incredible.
I just don't think we have the horses to go deep in a 7-game series. Get tired legs and whatnot. You start getting beat up. People figure you out. Things happen, especially with players like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving out there, and Joel Embiid and James Harden. So I think Eastern Conference Finals is the ceiling for this team, and I'm fine with that. Honestly, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm actually so glad that you mentioned that thing about the tired legs, because that was one thing that concerned me over the weekend. Now, 3-1 in the last four is not bad. That's really good. So this is me kind of picking at things,
No,
but
that's awesome.
I saw a lack of. I saw some. I had flashbacks in that Pacers game. I don't know about you. I know that was a brutal game to watch, and after a back to back, or I think it was either one day of travel in between or a back to back.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of excuses from Celtics Twitter, from some of the other podcasts, from a lot of people in the articles, tired legs, blah blah blah, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it just looks like they lost focus, right? Like I know there was a little bit of fatigue. Is that an excuse to lose focus like that? Considering when you're in the playoffs, I know it's like I said, it's an early sample size. 3-1 in the last four is still really good, but I mean that's something to pay attention to. Something that I noticed that the Celtics struggled with when they were in the bubble. Kind of an example, they would have those games. One game really good, the next game awful. One game really good, next game awful. So is this going to be something to watch out for? Is this going to be one of those situations where it's like, okay, this team's going to be really good, but it's going to be one of those dance parties back and forth every other day with them?
That was a schedule loss. That was an absolute schedule loss. And the reason that I feel so good about that is what they did last 2 nights ago against the Hawks, right? So they had the Hawks coming into town. Jaylen Brown goes down like the first 2 minutes of the game. I mean, and they were down big. They were down big, and they ended up coming back and winning it in the second half with great defense. So, that's why I'm not too worried about this. We had a schedule loss. It happens. I'm not too worried about it.
I really hope that's what it is, honestly. I really do.
And if you think about it, Sammy, it was their third game in 4 nights on the heels of a back-to-back on a travel day. I mean, that's tough. They were in Detroit the night before.
It's also playoff basketball.
Yeah.
Just something that's just something that I wanted to watch out for. But I mean, to your point, schedule loss. They probably were taking it a little more easy, considering it is a marathon, not a sprint, if you will.
Right.
But all right, kind of the next thing I wanted to touch on was something we talked about 2 weeks ago when it had happened. James Harden and these new look 76ers. What do you think so far with this, man? I mean, you've been pretty spot on now. Like they're crushing it right now.
I want to know the diet. I want to know the diet that James Harden went on. I need that in my life. How do you lose all that weight? Really incredible what he did. Just shedding like 50 pounds in like 3 days. We knew this team was going to be good with James Harden, right? Because Joel Embiid has never played with a shooter like that before. Granted, it's a few games and they just played the Timberwolves. But
Timberwolves.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the Timberwolves game where they had like the 50-point win or whatever. They beat the shit out of them. So, how much can you glean from that? Not much, other than James Harden looks like he's really good. James Harden looks like he's James Harden again. But let's see how long that lasts. He kind of has a track record like Kyrie Irving, where he'll kind of be somewhere until he's not content about anything. And he's also not known as the least partying guy out there, right? So they got some big games coming up. They play Miami. Let's see what happens there. That's the true test for me. Is he going to take this seriously? Is James Harden going to take this team seriously? And if he does, I think this team their ceiling is definitely finals. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's too early to call, but they're having a pretty amazing start. And I want to throw some key stats at you that I had noticed over the last 3 games. Again, small sample size. Don't want to take too much from it, but a couple of stats that I thought were pretty interesting. On Sunday, I believe that's the Timberwolves game, they tied the season record in free throws attempt and got the season record in free throws made. So they were 39 for 44 at the free throw line. I had written this up Monday night, and I was mentioning I think this will be something to foresee something for the foreseeable future with the with the 76ers. And last night, they kind of proved me right. 28 for 33 from the free throw line. So they are getting to the line a lot. I think James Harden was 8 for 10. I believe Joel Embiid was 10 for 11. So you got 2 guys getting to the free throw line quite a bit. James Harden shooting. And then in the last 3 games with James Harden, they posted 125 offensive rating and a 20.4 net rating. Now, prior to James Harden, this was from January to right before James Harden, they posted a 112 offensive rating and a 4 net rating. So pretty significant change that James Harden has made. And I think that's something that you pointed out when we had that discussion on when the trade happened, that, yeah, it's Joel Embiid has never played with a shooter like this. So
a shooter like that, and not only that, but somebody that's going to take the load off of him offensively too, right? So, yes, Tobias Harris went out of his mind for, what was it, like three weeks, something like that. But he was never James Harden.
Right.
Literally, he can. Joel Embiid doesn't have to go as hard as he's been going lately. So, I mean, what I like for the Philly, for the now and for the future, is that this is going to give Joel Embiid hopefully some respite. Now, I want to talk to you about the team thing, like whose team is it, kind of thing. This is something I heard Bill Simmons bring up on his podcast, and I thought it was interesting to think about. Is James Harden going to Philly thinking that this is this is going to be his team now, or is he going with knowing that this is Joel Embiid's team?
I actually heard the same thing. How is that going to all play out? And honestly, I don't know. And that's kind of the scary part. Right now, it looks like he's filling the role that he should and is supposed to. But is that enough for him? Right? Like, is he gonna, like you said, get bored? Is he gonna be like, no, I want my own team. I want my own digs. I want my own shit. And it's yet to be seen. But we all know this is Joel Embiid's team. Right, that's just a given.
And
having
I'll tell you
MVP
what,
season.
I'm not going to be tuning into any of their games if they're going to be playing like that. Flopping all over the place, getting all these goddamn fouls. But if you're a Philly fan, if you're KK right now, I'm doing backflips from what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty
also,
scared.
Maxey too, man.
I was gonna joke and say it's Tyrese Maxey team.
Dude, that guy, man. Holy crap! Rookie. Who would have seen it? 21st pick. I mean, literally anybody could have had him. We could have had him.
Yep.
Shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's just a bummer. But good on their scouting. Finally they got one, but just sucks. Sucks that Philly's doing well.
Yeah. So the next one I wanted to touch on, and you can kind of put me in my place, is the Chicago Bulls. I know they lost the last two. I believe they're 7-9 in their last 9. So still pretty good. Derozan, I think, is making a pretty good case for an MVP candidate. I don't think he's going to get MVP, but I think it's really interesting that he's making this case for an MVP candidate when everybody considered him dead, right? Everybody thought, oh, he's just a role player. He's just a very, very good role player. Goes to Chicago, is having a career year, and he's doing it despite what you and I were actually talking about last week when we had the table up talking about mid-range and three-point shooters. He's a mid-range guy, and he's very good at that shot, and he's very efficient. So what do you think about the Bulls and Derozan right now?
DeRozan especially has been a surprise, and good for him. But he's really turned into just an assassin from 2-point range, and to put up the numbers that he does, I think didn't he have 50 the other night? I think.
Yeah. I think he had like 2 nights in a row or something like that.
Yeah, and he did that without shooting threes, guys. I mean, that's incredibly difficult in this day and age to not. Basically, everybody knows where you're going. So yeah, he put up 37 against the Hawks, and let me see how many threes he attempted. Look at that. Okay, so he attempted 3 threes and hit 2 of them. So he had a good day from 3. But this is a guy that's going to take most of his shots from the mid range, not from inside. He usually has that sweet little turnaround that he likes to do, that little KG turnaround, Kobe Bryant turnaround, and he's been incredible this season. I think I wish I remembered the number he was shooting. His field goal percentage from the mid range is like ridiculous. I have to try and find it. I wish I would have looked it up before this, but I think the Bulls are good. I don't think that they're a contender though. But I think
what's your ceiling for them right now? Not as far as wins, but as far as in the playoffs.
So right now, they are the what seed? The second seed or first seed?
Second.
Okay, so I think they fall out of that second spot. I actually think they fall a little bit. I think they fall to 4, and I think they are a second round and out team.
I think that's a success for them. That's pretty good.
So too, especially from what we expected in the beginning of the season. I didn't expect them to be a playoff contender, let alone make it to the second round of playoffs. But
let me pat myself on the back, and I will post the video when I took the over of 42.5 wins for the Chicago Bulls, and they are currently 39-23 with 20-something games left. All I need is 4 more wins.
Mm-hmm.
This is my victory lap right now. I mean, you picked the Bengals, but I should get some props here.
And you should have bet on that. All your money. That would have been a great bet.
I should have. I don't think at the time that the Hard Rock app was available, and then by the time it was, I had completely forgot about putting that bet in. All right, Victor.
Yeah.
We have an exciting month. I mean, this was the month that you and I kind of got even closer, right? This time last year.
Yeah. Well,
March Madness, dude.
Before we go to March Madness.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a team that I'm surprised you didn't bring up.
Are you talking about the Memphis Grizzlies?
No. The Grizzlies have been great.
Dallas Mavericks?
The Dallas Mavericks.
I wanted to, but I didn't want to do too much of that the Luka love. I have too much Luka love.
They're looking good right now. I tell you what, they're up there in terms of net rating. They're up there. They're 4th right now in net rating since January 1st.
Remember when you poo-pooed the trade?
I didn't poo-poo the trade. I liked the trade. I thought it didn't mean anything.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was just a whatever. Get rid of Porzingis, and now you have Spencer Dinwiddie waving off Luka Doncic. But
no, you don't. I watched that Lakers game. He did not wave him off.
Well, I'll tell you what. The Dallas Mavericks are making a push right now. They're currently out of the play-in game by, let's see. I think it's 2 games. Yeah, it's 1 game. So they're 3 games out of the play-in game right now. They're looking good, man. If you're a Lakers fan, you got to be kicking yourself thinking, I have LeBron James and AD on my team, and I can't make a non-playout game. All right, but I just wanted to shout out the Mavericks, shout out Luka, what they're doing. They're looking great right now.
Yeah, I like the pieces that they added. I watched a little bit of the game on Sunday night, I believe it was. Wanted to really see how Dinwiddie and Bertans fit there. Bertans did not have the best shooting performance in that game, but Dinwiddie was awesome, and it was really great to see how they balance the time management between Luka and Dinwiddie on the court. You always have a guy slashing. You always have a guy that can shoot. I think Dinwiddie shot a little bit out of his mind from 3 in that particular game. I don't think he's that great of a shooter, but still another dangerous weapon that Luka now has that has something to prove. But I'm not going to say he's a superstar, but
and a big test tonight where they play Golden State. And the most important thing about Spencer Dinwiddie is that he's on the floor, right?
Yep.
Porzingis wasn't able to be there all,
Right.
I
Right.
don't know what he's doing.
That's important.
I hope he has fun in Washington if he ever plays.
Yeah. Any other NBA teams you want to get to, Vic?
Oh, I mean, there's 30 of them, sure. I can get to all of them.
Go right ahead, man. No, go ahead, man. Go cook. Cook it up. I touched on 2 or 3, and go ahead, cook on them.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is we talk about Derozan for MVP. We talk about what the Heat are doing. We talk about Joel Embiid MVP, but everybody forgot about the reigning MVP Nikola Jokic, who's having himself a season as well. Right. What he's done with that Nuggets team, with literally nobody, that's a scary team. That's a scary team that
aren't those 2? What's his name is coming back? The point guard is coming back.
Murray's coming back.
Yeah, Jamal Murray.
Might come back. It's starting to look like he's going to come back for the playoffs.
Right.
If I had to pick a team that was under the 5th seed that had a chance to make the finals, this would be my team right here, the Denver Nuggets.
All right.
And
I love getting this stuff on air, bro.
I love Jokic.
I really do.
Love Jokic. He's probably one of my favorite players in the NBA. Just to see a guy that big have that kind of he made a pass against the Celtics the other night. This is before the All-Star break, but I mean, just an incredible pass. And I just saw one pass where he made threw it right behind his back. You saw that?
Yeah.
Man, it's outside of his mind. All right, I'm done with the NBA talk, but mark that down, Sammy, because if I had to pick a team under the 5th seed to make the finals, it's the Denver Nuggets.
All right. I like that. But okay, it's that time of the month. We just hit March. We got a couple weeks. So just to remind everybody, remember, hit the like, hit the subscribe. But we will not have a show next week. But we will have a show the day after, or 2 days after Selection Sunday. And it's going to be a really exciting show. We're going to give you guys some picks, some things to look out for as far as March Madness. But here, I wanted to give a little bit of a teaser. Vic, I don't know if you've done a little bit of research, watched a little bit of college ball recently. I did a little bit of research. I know this was really exciting for us last year. We were crushing it.
We got into it
as far as March Madness goes. So I'm actually really excited again for this year. And I was kind of looking through the teams, looking for the conferences for the next 10 days. So from now, or actually I think tomorrow until the 13th, we have a lot of conference championships coming up. Any teams off the bat, or any teams that you can think of that you're watching out for, that you're considering? You can even give a teaser for the tournament if you'd like at this point. I know we don't have any seeds yet. I mean, we have the top 25, but any teams that are interesting to you?
Well, Auburn, number 1, because they're going to have the number 1 pick on their team, I believe, in Jalen Smith. And that's been really interesting. I like Gonzaga with possibly the number 2 pick, Chet Holmgren. I'm sorry, Jabari Smith. I think I said Jalen. If I'm looking at it like a team that's like under, let's see here. I don't know, man. I haven't watched too much college basketball other than the big guys this year. I like SMU because I representing the AAC for us. Miami, ACC. But other than that, I got nothing. You know what's interesting to me, though, is that you have UNC's back in the tournament, right? You got Ohio State, you got UConn, you got these old teams that are in there. Oh, Houston's another one I like. I like Houston a lot. I think that they can make a run, not necessarily to like win it all, but I think they could be a surprise Final Four team.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, some notable teams that I wanted to point out for this coming week before we get into the tournament. Some bubble teams, first ins, first outs, teams that really have their fate lying on these next 2 weeks. First and foremost, the Memphis Tigers. Based on how they played in the last week, pretty likely to be in. They might need to make a Oregon Ducks. They need a deep run. So they need a deep run in that Pac-12 in order to make it into the next. Now, some tournaments for everybody to keep their eyes on is you got the SEC, man. So you got UF, obviously, a big team that needs to make it in, and they're going to fight it out against Kentucky, Auburn, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, all top 25 teams. Who knows how seriously they're going to take the tournament? Obviously, there's a little bit of pride in all of that. Teams want to do the Kemba Walker thing and win their league tournament and then end up winning the Natty. Then you got the Big Ten tournament. That's another one. Wisconsin, Illinois, Purdue, Iowa, Ohio State, plus Rutgers, Michigan, and Michigan State fighting for their future. So those are 3 teams that have to make a competitive push. Teams that are kind of on that bubble like you were mentioning. I think, I believe Michigan is out. UNC is in. So, ACC, decent tournament if you want to see how far UNC gets. But I think a sneaky one, I know a lot of people probably won't watch this, but, historically, the Atlantic 10 is very, very sneaky. They don't have anybody in the top 25 currently, but you have a lot of teams that have a pretty good resume. I think you have 2 or 3 teams in that top team that are going to make it in, so they don't even need to win the Atlantic 10, but I think they don't know that yet. So you're going to get a very, very competitive Atlantic 10 tournament. Everybody wants that automatic bid. They don't want to leave any of that up to chance. So I think the Atlantic 10 is going to be interesting. You got Davidson, VCU. You got historically pretty good teams that, they match up really well in those first round upsets. So I think Atlantic 10 is going to be fun.
So what about Michigan? What happens with the coach that punched somebody that was on the Fab Four?
I think he's still there, as far as I know.
No, he's still there, but I don't know if he got suspended for the whole season. I know he got suspended for the season, but I'm not sure if it was the whole season or if it was just like the regular season. And
I don't know. I didn't see what the suspension was.
I can't believe he punched that dude.
So, what did he say? I want to know what that guy said.
Yeah, like why are you so mad? Like I know you lost, but like don't be a dick about it. And let's talk about conferences. So like how about the SEC, right? You know, you have historically powerhouse football schools now starting to, you know, this is like the third or fourth consecutive year that Alabama has made the tournament.
I mean, Arkansas, that's a team I think you pointed out last year.
Arkansas, yeah, another good team. Yeah, I mean, Arkansas, of course, Kentucky's going to be there, but you know, SEC, you know, they have 6 teams according to the bracketology. Big Ten, of course, is going to be there with 9. Big East, whatever. But SEC is the one that really surprised me the most because, you know, typically you don't see great basketball schools from the SEC, and when you do, it's like the Kentuckys or, you know, the Vanderbilts. Florida.
Yeah. It's pretty much Tennessee, Vanderbilt, yeah. That's about it, but
you know, that's it, right? Those 3. That's who you see. Now you're seeing new schools, and I think, you know, that's impressive. And I'm definitely going to start watching some college basketball once March comes around. I look forward to it, mainly for the prospects, but you know, I love these games. I really do. So, you know, remember last year, my favorite memory was that Jalen Suggs shot. Watching that live, man. Oh, man. I hope the Hard Rock app comes back before March Madness starts.
Oh, my God. Me too, man. I really do. But all right. Yeah, that's pretty much all we got. Like I mentioned to everybody, we will be back in 2 weeks to do more in-depth March Madness coverage. So be sure to check out kind of the teams Vic and I had talked about to see kind of who makes it in. You're looking at the 13th of March is going to be Selection Sunday. So you're going to see where all of those brackets end up. But yeah, with that being said, Vic, are you ready to give your townie takeaway for the week?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you, Sammy. So my townie takeaway has become my corner to talk United States men's national team soccer. And you know what? I'm going to do that again because something awful, horrendous, horrible, terrible happened just last week. We lost the best player in the United States men's national team player pool right now, Weston McKennie, for some time. Definitely for these qualifiers coming up. Big qualifiers against Mexico and Panama. No Weston McKennie. Gio Reyna, who just got back from a huge injury, got injured again. Luckily not as bad, but I doubt we will see him at full strength during the qualifiers. He might play in 1 or 2, but I'd be surprised if he played the Mexico game and even started. But you have some good things happening overseas as well. You have guys that are really shining, especially some guys that play up top, mainly Jordan Pefok. He plays for Young Boys in Switzerland. Switzerland? I think it's Switzerland, yeah. And he is currently in line to win the Golden Boot in Switzerland. So the United States continues to talk about how poor our striker pool is. I couldn't disagree more. I think Berhalter's just calling up the wrong guys. Another great thing that happened in American news, an American coach is now the coach of an English Premier League team, Leeds United. So exciting there. I think he's the first coach since Michael Bradley to take over. And I'm surprised, honestly, another coach got a shot after Michael Bradley. Not saying that Michael Bradley's a bad coach, but Jesse March definitely got in there and is going to have to make a good name for himself because if two American coaches flame out, we're going to be in trouble. And something that I think it was Herc Gomez pointed out, the two things that Jesse March, or the thing that Jesse March and Michael Bradley have in common, not Michael Bradley, Bob Bradley have in common, they were both players on Chivas USA, if you remember that famous MLS team. But I'm excited for the future USMNT coach, Jesse March, to wet his beak in England. And then once Berhalter's fired after this World Cup, I'm excited for him to come over and do what he can with the USMNT. If you're not behind this team now's the time to get in line and get ready for it. And like I said, I can't say this enough. Once they put the anthem, once they hear the anthem, once they see them wearing the colors, something changes. I know you don't like CONCACAF, Sammy, but man, it's just something to watch your team out there. Your countrymen, or in most cases, your kind of countrymen. Most of them with British accents and German accents. But you know what? I don't care. And also, I know you know this, Dest is balling in Barcelona as well. So there you have it. We're balling at the right time. Unfortunately, we lost Weston McKennie, who was having a great season at Juventus, and is probably one of their best players, which is crazy to think that a United States player is one of the better players on a European football club as big as Juventus. But love to see it. Excited for it. I think that we have even better guys coming up now. The player pool is not thin. I don't think this is a golden generation. I think this is as sustainable. So get used to it, guys. We're going to be competing for the World Cup in 2026.
What's your ceiling?
This year?
Yeah.
Second round of knockouts, I think. I think we can finally win a knockout. In my lifetime, I've never seen the United States men's national team win a knockout game. I think we can do it here.
Oh, I love
First,
it.
we have to qualify.
Right,
Let's qualify first.
Yeah. I mean, it's the prospect of qualifying is looking pretty good anyway.
Well, it is. It isn't. So, if we lose to Mexico, lose to Panama, we're not. It's not looking great. We're probably going to end up qualifying, but we might have to end up playing a playing game against like New Zealand or some shit. Whoever wins Oceania, and that that's just another game. Anything can happen, right? It's one game.
Right.
So that's the scary thing. But I think that we'll qualify. Hopefully, we don't have to play in the play-in. I think right now we're sitting at the 2 spot. It's crazy to think about. That's just CONCACAF for you. That at this late in the stage, you honestly have. There's like 5 or 6 teams that can make the that can win the not win the group, but make the World Cup. You have Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, USA, and Canada. 5 people vying for 4 spots. That 4 spot is a play-in. Crazier things have happened, Sammy. God forbid we don't win any points this go around, this qualifying round, and we're screwed. We might, that's when I start to shit myself. But I think we'll qualify. I just don't want to be in a play-in.
When's the next game?
I believe the next game is in March. Let's see here.
I'll be all the way tuned in.
Mexico. And it is March 24th against Mexico. I will be at the game March 27th in Orlando versus Panama, and then we have our final game of qualifiers against Costa Rica March 30th at, for some reason, 9:05 p.m.
Quick.
By the way, the Mexico game is at fucking 10
PM?
p.m.
Past my bedtime.
That's seriously, dude. They do that shit on purpose.
Yeah. Anything else you want to close out with, Vic? Any other?
No spoilers on the Batman, please. But it does look good.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it on Sunday, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, good for you. It sounds like fun. I wish I could go. Man, it does look good. I haven't seen a movie come out to such like glowing reviews in a long time, but damn.
Yeah. But all right, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Welcome to all of you to our new home of sports. We're going to give you so much more great content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Please remember to like and subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell everybody that we are your home for sports. We love you, and thank you for choosing us for all of your listening pleasure. This show is not possible without you guys, so please help us with the algorithm. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Recommend it to your friends, share on your Facebook, do all that good stuff. Every one of our reviews, likes, and subscriptions helps us with the YouTube algorithm to reach other potential viewers and grow our channel to newer and greater heights. So like and subscribe. Also, lastly, don't forget to check out our Instagram page at Townie_sports and our TikTok page at Townie Sports Pod for all mini clips and highlights of the show as it is dropped. And obviously, gonna give a quick shout out to the House of Fandom show. They are doing a show, I think, simultaneously right now. So go check them out on that side if you're looking into movies and all that good stuff. With that being said, I'm your host, Sammy, alongside Vic. As always, we are Townie Sports.
Bye.
Swag so mean, swag on 100. We keep it real, dog. Nah, we ain't never fronted. You know my whole cap G-Clan stay blunted. My toes stay bruised, cause I'm running to the money. Swag so mean, swag on 100. We keep it real, dog. Nah, we ain't stay blunted. My toes stay bruised.